Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a Deeper Perspective podcast. I'm Morgan Robert, your host. Today we're going to be talking about some stuff that I've been really realizing as usual. We're going to be talking about outgrowing an older version of yourself and entering into a newer chapter of your life. And we're going to be specifically talking about outgrowing a toxic version of yourself. So, outgrowing a version of yourself that maybe doesn't have good habits, right? That maybe doesn't handle situations in the healthiest way. Outgrowing a version of yourself that doesn't treat people great, possibly is toxic in relationships with family, with friends. Maybe you just have these bad mental habits, you have these bad habits, period, right? So, we're going to be talking about outgrowing that more toxic, unhealthy, older version of yourself and how uncomfortable that can be and how crazy it can feel and how almost not stable you can feel in the process of outgrowing that because you're becoming a completely different person. You're becoming somebody that isn't even recognizable. You're also not only becoming somebody that isn't recognizable, but you're also attracting people in your life or environments in your life or opportunities in your life that also do not match the energy of the older version of yourself. You are now being presented with people that don't feed or fuel the toxic ways. You are now being introduced to opportunities and environments that don't feed that version of yourself. And that's what I'm going to be talking about because I've been really dealing with this on my own, where I've been outgrowing so many unhealthy habits and so many unhealthy ways, that I was living in. I had so many unhealthy mental habits, right? I had unhealthy ways of coping. I had unhealthy ways, of going about certain situations with people. And over the past couple years, I've been really checking myself and I've been really, really trying to cut out all of the unhealthy things that I've been doing. And I've also been taking accountability and realizing that a lot of the times when stuff in our life is working out a certain way that we don't like, it is our own fault. There were certain people that treated me in not great ways, but I allowed them into my life. And I allowed them into my life because I wasn't valuing myself. I wasn't valuing my time. I wasn't valuing my energy. I didn't think highly of myself. And that's why I allowed people to treat me poorly. That's why I stayed at jobs that I maybe shouldn't have stayed at. You know what I'm saying? And it's because we are not valuing ourselves. It's because we're not allowing ourselves to live in a healthy way. It's because maybe subconsciously we think that we deserve to be in a relationship where we're not happy. Maybe subconsciously we feel like we don't deserve happiness. And maybe we feel like we don't deserve happiness because we did XYZ like 5-10 years ago and we still feel like we're a bad person because of it. Maybe we haven't forgiven ourselves for certain things that happened in our past. Maybe we're blaming ourselves for how certain things worked out in our childhood or how certain things went down in our life. And because of that, that manifests into us believing that we're not worthy of certain things, that manifests into us believing that we don't deserve happiness, that we don't deserve good things in our life, that we don't deserve a good partner, we don't deserve good friends, we don't deserve to have a job that we love to go to every day. So what do? We sabotage. And not only that, but we continue to think negatively about our life because we just don't believe that we deserve good things. Or maybe you're just stuck in a negative thought pattern because that's what you saw growing up. Or maybe you're just so used to thinking so negatively and expecting negative stuff to happen in your life that you're in that loop and you haven't chosen to get out of that. You haven't chosen to do better for yourself. But whatever the factors are, you need to really become clear on it and you need to do better. You know what I'm saying? And you need to know that you are worthy of better, that you are worthy of doing better. It's okay if you choose to be happy. It's okay if you want to be happier. It's okay if you want to cut off those friends because you feel like they're not good for you. It's okay if you want to go to a better job. It's okay if you tell your boss, hey, listen, I don't want to be here anymore. That's okay. If the job is draining you, it's draining you. Don't feel guilty for moving on and doing better. Don't feel guilty. Don't ever feel guilty for choosing better for yourself. Don't ever feel guilty for thinking that you deserve a better life because you do. You always deserve to to have that happiness. You always deserve to do better. If you want to choose to do better, you deserve that. You can be worthy of that. You can have that. You can obtain that. You can obtain a happy life. You can obtain a happy self like within you. You can obtain inner peace, you can obtain inner happiness. You can obtain a good relationship with yourself. And that's not something you should ever feel guilty about. That's not something you should ever feel, doubt about. That's not something you should ever feel like, "Oh, can I do it? Or should I do it? Should I go after a better life for myself?" Of course you should. Of course you should. You should never hold back on that. You should never feel like it's not the right move. You should never worry about how it's going to affect so and so and so and so and so and so. Because really, you and your happiness, it should be put above a lot of things. And a lot of times I feel like some people, we don't put our happiness above anything really. We put it last. Right? And I know that I've struggled with that within myself, like realizing that, hey, listen, you get to be happy. If that's something that you want, you can work towards that. And that's something that you can have. And it's okay if so and so feels some type of way about it. It's okay if you start going to the gym, eating healthier, having a better life for yourself, and your old friend wants to feel some type of way about it because they're not choosing to grow, they're not choosing to expand. It's okay. Let them feel that way. That's not your fault. That should never be on you. You choosing a happier life, that's for you. You're not doing it to compete with anybody. You're not doing it because you want to be better than everybody else. You're doing it because you want to be happy, and that's okay. So many people will try to make you feel some type of way, right? Because they feel some type of way about you choosing happiness for yourself. Let them feel some type of way. Because if anything, it might push them to choose happiness for themselves. But you have to let them be in that uncomfortability to then be pushed in that direction. You can't be coddling people's feelings and people's emotions when it comes to how you choose to live your life. You can't do that because then you hold yourself back. And the more you stand in your truth, the more you follow your purpose, the more you follow your happiness and you choose to go after what you want in this life, the more likely other people are going to too. And it might take them a minute and they might feel some type of way at first, but I promise you, I've literally seen this in real time. I've seen this in my own life. I have seen me chase my dreams and my goals and believe in myself and go out of the norm. I've seen myself do that, and I've seen people, fight with me, argue with me, doubt me even at first. And then over the years, I've seen those people follow in my footsteps in a way. I've seen people take what I'm doing and take it as inspiration because at first they were weary of it. But then they realized that I knew what I was doing. They realized that I actually did achieve something when I decided to go after my dreams. They realized that it actually was something worth going after. And so then they did it. They looked to me as inspiration. And they wouldn't have done that if I didn't fully step into what I was supposed to step into. If I had sat there and I had molded my life around certain people's feelings and certain people's emotions, I never would have stepped fully into my truth. I never would have fully achieved my goals. I never would have fully stepped into what I was supposed to step into, what God wanted me to step into. And because I did that, other people did too. Because I decided to fully step into it, other people saw how they could do that too. And how if they fully stepped in their truth, if they went after what they wanted to go after in life, they could achieve what I achieved. They could be happy like how I'm happy. And if I had held myself back and didn't go after what I wanted in this life, other people would have never stepped into their purpose. You have to realize how you stepping into your truth, it always will create that domino effect. You stepping into your truth and not even really thinking, not even putting in the effort in trying to convince people to step into their power, trying to convince people to, pursue their purpose. You don't even need to try. You just need to do it yourself, and other people will follow. Other people will look at you as inspiration. And that's all you need to do. That's all you need to worry about. And like I said, it might seem like you're making the wrong moves at first. It might seem like, everybody's upset. Everybody's feeling some type of way because I'm changing, because I'm growing, because I'm going after really big things in life. People might start to feel some type of way, but I promise you over time, more times than not, I've realized people will eventually start looking to you as inspiration, and they will stop seeing you as a problem, and they'll start realizing, oh, they were onto something. And then they're going to step into their power. It takes a very strong person, though, to completely tune out everybody's opinion, even if it is really close people, even if it is loved ones. It takes a very strong person to tune out those opinions and to keep going regardless. I'm telling you. And if you are somebody who is currently doing that, I really, really give you a lot of credit. I do, because I know that it takes a lot of strength, and I know that it takes courage, and I know that it's hard to walk this path alone. And I know it's hard to constantly be hearing people doubt you and criticize you and tell you it's not going to work. I know how that feels. But I promise you, if you keep going, I promise you, you're going to prove them wrong. And not only that, but you're eventually going to start inspiring them. And they're going to realize, oh, they were onto something, like I said. But anyways, what I really wanted to talk about in this episode was just like how I've been doing that. You know what I mean? I've been really chasing happiness. I've been chasing a better version of myself, a healthier version of myself. Like I've really, over the past couple of years, I've been working very hard to cut out a lot of toxic ways. And because of that, I've been seeing a lot reflected in my physical reality, the healthy habits that I have been practicing within myself, right? And in my reality, I'm seeing that reflected back to me through people, places, things, and opportunities. The energy that I am now receiving from certain individuals, it's very healthy energy. It's like they are very committed to me. They take me seriously. They respect me. They value me, they cherish me, they give to me in ways, you know what I'm saying? And this is an energy that I am not fully used to, if I'm going to be completely honest, because I have not always had a healthy relationship with myself. And so I've always attracted unhealthy relationships in others. And I've always attracted toxic and negative environments or situations with people because I didn't have a very healthy internal world. Because I had to work very hard to love myself. I had to work very hard to heal my wounds, to look at myself and heal those shadow aspects of myself. I had to work very hard to become a healthy version of myself. I had to work very hard to be consistent in the gym and treat my body properly and have positive thoughts and believe in myself. I had to work very hard to get to this point that I'm currently at. I had to work very, very hard to be able to communicate properly. I had to work hard to be emotionally mature. I had to work very hard to get to this point that I'm currently at in every single aspect of who I am today. And I feel like I'm finally starting to see the results of that hard work that I've been putting in. And, people are genuinely reflecting back to me the healthy relationship that I've gained within myself. People are now showing up for me because over the years, I started showing up for me because I didn't give up on me. Because every single day, no matter how tired I was, no matter how depressed I felt, no matter how, unmotivated I was feeling, I still showed up. I still got out of bed. I still did what I needed to do because I knew that I was worth it. I didn't ever give up on myself. I didn't ever, stop chasing my dreams. I didn't ever stop trying to do better for myself. And because of that, I now have people in my life that are showing up for me in the same way. And they're showing up for me with the same care and the same generosity that I've been showing up for myself with. And so I'm now seeing that in real time, right? And it's been this crazy experience because I feel like I'm this newer version of myself, but there's still an old wounded version of myself that is still lingering. And I was journaling about it this morning because it's something that has really been brought to my attention and I really wanted to reflect on it. So basically in my journal, I was talking about how because I'm so used to chaotic environments and relationships, most of my life up until this point, I have always had chaos going on in my life. And I've always had people, fighting or arguing with me or trying to start problems, trying to create drama. And I've always been sucked into this chaotic energy. And so I've worked very hard over the past couple years to manifest peace into my life. And so I'm finally receiving that. I'm finally attracting those individuals that don't want to start stuff with me. They don't want to argue with me. They care about me. They care about my happiness and my peace. They're not looking to come into my life and sabotage anything. They're not looking to come into my life and bring chaos. They're only looking to bring me peace and happiness. And I almost don't know how to react to it. So something that I've realized that I've been doing, and I know this is something that a lot of people who are experiencing the same thing that I'm experiencing struggle with. And this was something I was doing, honestly, without even fully realizing. I was taking a perfectly peaceful situation and I would unconsciously start a problem out of nothing. So basically, if I was just like hanging out with somebody and nothing was going wrong, everything was fine, everything was great, it was like a peaceful moment, I would literally create a problem out of nothing by just randomly bringing something up, you know what I mean, and getting all worked up and getting all heated. And it led me to act in ways that I myself, this newer version of myself that I am manifesting and that I have manifested, wouldn't have acted. It had me acting in toxic ways that I didn't even realize towards somebody that didn't even deserve it or didn't even do anything to deserve that treatment. You know what I'm saying? So I would start something out of nothing because the peace of the situation between me and this person made me uncomfortable. But what I was comfortable in was chaos. So I would unconsciously start problems out of nothing, and then not only that, but I would get worked up and I would act out in ways that wasn't calm, wasn't healthy, right? And so I was journaling about this morning and I was asking myself, why am I acting out? Because there's something deeper to this that needs to be addressed. Because if it's so bad to the point where I'm acting out for no reason and I'm creating a problem out of nothing, something here needs to be looked at. Something here needs to be addressed. And if this is happening so much to the point where I'm completely unaware of it, because I was completely unaware of it. But recently, this awareness has been brought to me. And so I journaled about it and I was asking myself, why am I acting out? Why is it this serious? You know what I'm saying? So I really dove deep into it journaling. And basically, what I said was, it's almost like somebody who is healthy for you. If you're used to toxicity and you have somebody who's healthy for you come into your life, literally what I realized was this person, they don't feed that part of you that is toxic, that likes to be in chaos. Because whether you want to admit it or not, if you are somebody who grew up in chaos or you're used to chaotic relationships, friendships, whatever the case may be, if you're used to that, there's a part of you that likes that because it's what they're used to. It's what you grew up around. And who knows, you might even view chaos as a part of love. You know what I'm saying? You might view that as normal. You might view that as, something that's just a part of relationships or something that's just a part of friendships, something that's just a part of any connection that comes into your life. You might view chaos as so normal that there's a part of you that doesn't even know what to do if it's not in your life or if it's not present in a connection that you have. You know what I'm saying? And I realized that the part of me that likes the chaos and likes the toxicity, it's an older version of myself that wants to be paid attention to. And she wants to be paid attention to because she wasn't paid attention to enough when she was going through the worst of the worst. And not only that, but she didn't get the proper love and attention that she needed at the time. And so now that I am a newer version of myself, this is literally what I realized while journaling. Now that I'm a newer version of myself that's healthier, that wants to approach things in a healthy way. I want peace in my life. I want happiness in my life, right? The older version of me did not act in that way. The older version of me was not comfortable with peace. So she created chaos. She liked the problems. She liked it when stuff was unpredictable. And whether she wanted to admit it or not, she liked being in connections or relationships that were toxic, because then she had something to complain about, because then she had an excuse as to why she was, not her healthiest, best self. Whole time, I wasn't holding myself accountable and realizing that I just didn't want to be my healthiest, best self. And I blamed it on other people, places, and things. And so that version of myself, she purposely created that chaos because she didn't believe that peace was possible. She didn't believe that she was worthy of it. I think a really big thing is that I just didn't believe that it was possible for myself. But like I said, I've worked very hard to get to this point where it has been possible for me and it is currently occurring in my life. And so now that it's finally happening, I don't even know what to do with it. It can be conflicting sometimes. But what I really realized, right, is that when somebody who's healthy comes into your life, it's like they shine all this light onto you. Because take this for example. This person is standing right in front of you, okay? And you guys are hanging out or you're having a conversation or whatever. You are standing there in front of this person who never fuels or feeds those versions of yourself that like the chaos, that like the toxicity, that maybe has self-loathing thoughts or whatever the case may be. Because that's another thing. If somebody in your relationship or connections or whatever, if they don't treat you properly, they are affirming to you that self-hatred that you might have within yourself. Sometimes we purposely want people to treat us poorly because it proves back to us that we don't deserve love. And we might have that as a subconscious belief. Sometimes, whether we want to admit it or not, we actually like being treated poorly because it affirms to us that we don't deserve happiness. And we like having that belief because it's comfortable to us. Because again, like I said, maybe you're holding some sort of resentment towards yourself and you believe that you deserve that kind of treatment. So, but as you start to get rid of this self-loathing behavior, as you start to get rid of the self-sabotaging and the self-hatred, you're going to stop manifesting people into your life that treat you so poorly. And so when these people who are healthier come along, right? So say, for example, this person's standing in front of you, right? And you're standing in front of them and you guys are talking or whatever. This person, they're calm, they're peaceful, they're happy. They only want to bring you positivity and light. That is going to irritate the heck out of your demons, because that's what I'm going to refer to them as in this podcast. These are your demons. These are your shadows. These are parts of yourself that are angry, that are resentful, okay? That, feel guilt, shame, whatever it is. They're feeling these negative emotions. It's versions of yourself that you probably need to look at and address and figure out, okay, why are we feeling this way? What went wrong? It's parts of yourself that need to be healed, okay? But when there's somebody who stands in front of you who is not feeding those by yelling at you, treating you poorly, okay, or creating arguments out of nothing, when you're standing in front of somebody who doesn't do any of that and doesn't affirm those versions of yourself to you, guess what you do? You freak out. You freak out because those versions of yourself, they're starting to die. They're realizing that they are starting to die. And this is really what I realized. So somebody who's healthy and somebody who wants you to be happy and somebody who treats you with this, kindness and care, they're standing in front of you and they're being this kind soul to you. They're being so generous to you. And it's like some people would think, oh, this is something that should be appreciated, should be valued, which it should be. I'm not saying it shouldn't be. But it's hard for somebody like you to appreciate it and value it because in the moment your demons are being irritated. Because in the moment your demons are realizing, like I said, they are dying. They are dying off. It's like there's a light side and a dark side to you, okay? We all have that yin and yang. But this person feeds the light side of you, but they're not feeding the dark side. Because I was journaling, right? And I was asking myself, why am I acting out? Why am I acting out so much when all this person does is treat me with kindness and care and respect and gratitude? Why am I acting out? Why am I not appreciating it? And I realized the process of outgrowing these demons that I started is being finalized by the people that are now coming into my life because they don't feed them at all. So literally what I wrote was, it's like there is no source of fuel for these energies anymore. And because of that, they get angry and they lash out because that is the last chance of survival for them. What would you do if you started to die and your only source of fuel was somebody being angry at you? These negative energies, right? It's a negative energy that isn't being fed. What would that negative energy that's starting to die try to do to not die? Because the only thing that feeds it is negative energy, right? So what would it start to do if it's getting no fuel, it's getting no food, it's not being fed? It's going to try and provoke somebody to feed it. Because that's how it gets fed, is somebody, creating negative emotion towards you, right? That's how it gets fed. So what is it going to try to do? It's going to try to create a negative situation. It's going to try to create negative emotion. It's going to try to provoke somebody. So that's why I was lashing out. That's why I would try to create problems out of nothing. That's why I would try to get somebody angry, somebody worked up, because that's the only way that these energies get fed. And they wanted to survive. But that's the old version of you. Those are old energies. They don't want to die. They don't want to die off. That old version of me, she didn't want to die off. So she wanted to try and still get fed, not realizing that there's somebody new taking her place, which is me, right? And so then I started to reflect on it more and I started to realize, okay, well, why does she want to be paid attention to so much, right? And so then what I did is, I'm not going to get completely into this, but what I did was I went into meditation and I addressed some of the problems that I was having with her. Because that's a whole other thing. If there's a version of you that keeps trying to come back up, there's old emotions that keep trying to come back up, it's for a reason. Something's coming to the surface for a reason. So you have to make sure that you look at it always. And in meditation and through journaling, I just realized that that older version of me that was going through so much, and didn't know how to handle certain situations in a healthy manner and didn't know how to handle certain things properly. I looked back on that and I did realize that she just wasn't getting the proper care and attention that she needed. And that's why she was really coming to the surface. And that's why she was trying to be paid attention to. And that's why she was lashing out and she was getting angry and upset. It's because there was a part of me that felt like she wasn't being loved. It's because there was a part of me that felt like she wasn't good enough. And so I needed to go back and I needed to reassure that version of myself. And I needed to forgive that version of myself. And I needed to tell her that she was good enough no matter what. But I really wanted to speak about that to you guys, the fact that if there really is somebody here who is in your life who doesn't feed those negative parts of yourself, they are going to start to die. They're going to start to die off because they're not being fed, right? And that's okay, but it's going to be a very uncomfortable process, right? It's literally a version of yourself not being fed. It's a version of yourself that's literally being starved. And unfortunately, it is a part of you. So you're going to start to feel that. You're going to start to feel that. But it's important that you don't let the uncomfortability of that get to you and make you act some type of way that you shouldn't be acting. Allow those parts of you to be let go, forgiven, paid attention to, whatever it is that you have to do to let that part of you go gracefully. Do it. Okay? But it's very important that you don't give in to that, right? It's the same thing as if you were really hungry and you start getting hangry. It's the same thing. That part of you is starved. That part of you is irritated because it's not being fed. So you need to make sure that you're still not feeding it and it will eventually die off. Okay? But right now, for example, like where I'm at, I'm just starting now to not feed it at all. So it's like the worst part of it. It's like the worst part of the process because this is the point where it's starting to really experience that major hunger for the first time and it's freaking out. Okay. But it's very important to keep that strength and to keep that mental strength and that awareness to not let that ruin your life or sabotage anything that's going on for you right now that's good. And it's also very important to realize that any toxic part of you, any part of you that wants to self-sabotage or act in some kind of toxic way, you need to realize that that part of you in the moment, it might feel like that part of you wants what's best for you or cares or whatever, but you need to realize and understand that any part of you that acts in that kind of way, they are not for your own good. And they do not want what's best for you. So it's important to have that awareness and to stop it when it occurs. I think that's basically all I really wanted to talk about in this episode. I hope I hit all of the points that I was really trying to hit, but this is just a big realization, that I've come to, and I really liked the way that I kind of realized it while I was journaling, how it's literally like you're starving that part of yourself. And that's why, you might be irritable or you might feel uncomfortable. That's why you might be acting out right now or things seem like they're not very stable. It's because there's literally a part of yourself dying. And it's important to remember that, and it's important to realize that and allow the part of you to die that's supposed to die, but then also welcome in the newer energy that's supposed to be coming in right now. And don't let that negative energy mess it up for you. Don't let the negative energy convince you that you're supposed to stay in negative energy forever. You're not. It's important to experience the change that you're supposed to be experiencing right now. And it's important that you allow yourself to experience it. It's important that you allow yourself to change and to grow when it's for your own good. And sometimes I feel like we don't allow ourselves to do that because we don't like change. We don't like becoming a new person. We don't like experiencing these new ways of being that we've never experienced before. We don't like letting go of old identities, even though those identities might be super toxic for us. We don't like any of that. We don't like the unknown. We don't like experiencing peace when all we're used to is chaos. We don't like that. And it's very normal, it's natural, but it's important to be aware of it. And it's important to allow yourself to finally experience peace and a better life. If this change means that you finally get to be happy and that you get to experience the things that, maybe that younger version of you once wanted to experience, maybe this change means that you get to start living the life of your dreams, whatever this change is, you need to welcome it with open arms. And I know it might be very hard to let go of the older version of you, but it's time to let them die. It's time to let them die. And I know that it's difficult and it's uncomfortable. I get that. But you need to realize that when that part of you is dying, they're hanging on for dear life. They're trying to survive. So they're telling you all of these lies. They're really just constantly telling you all of these things to try and keep them alive. They're telling you these negative things so you can believe them, because the negative things that they're telling you, it's literally keeping them alive. When you believe the negative lies that they're telling you, when you start acting out in unhealthy ways because of them, that's you keeping them alive. But you need to let them die, because the moment you let them die, you become the version of you that you're supposed to be. Okay? And I need you to understand that their voice might be loud, those habits that you've been wanting to act out on, they might, those urges might be very strong right now. But it's important that you're aware of it and you're strong and you stay grounded and you make sure that you make it out on the other end of this transition. It's very important. I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope that it helped you in any kind of way. Stay tuned for more episodes. Follow me on my Instagram and my TikTok. I'm probably going to put them in the description. If I don't, my Instagram is Morgan, MorgannRobert. That's my Instagram. My TikTok is Morgsrobert. So it's MorgsRobert. I probably won't put them in the description, honestly, because I'm lazy like that. But yeah, go check me out there if you haven't already. Thank you so much for listening, guys, and stay tuned for more episodes.